Hi, welcome to my video on the combination of the operations on radicals. When I say combinations, I mean that you can add, subtract, and multiply, etc., etc., obeying the order of operations by PEMDAS or BEDMAS, whichever way you teachers taught you. Let's do some practice on this. Practice means pause the video and work out the answer and press playback to see if you're right. Simplify each. So we're going to multiply. Notice here we have to do PEMDAS, so just write it down over here. PEMDAS. So always check to see if the inside can be simplified. Notice 4 and 1 is 5. By adding these up, it makes your and the square root of 12, notice that can be simplified. 12 is 4 times 3, so that's a 2 root 3. So simplifying the inside, which is inside the parentheses or brackets, you make the problem easier for yourself. Now we have no exponents, and we have to do multiplication. So we got to do FOIL. First, 5 times 2 is 10. Outside, 5 times 2 root 3 is 10 root 3. Root 3 times 2 is 2 root 3. And root 3 times 2 times 1 is 2. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. So that gives us a 6. So first is 10. Outside, inside, last. And now we combine them. And if you want, these are easy to do. So I'm just going to add 10 and 6 is 16, and 12 root 3. Because now I think you can, by now you should be able to work these out without writing down the next step. And PEMDAS, I always write down PEMDAS, keep it in your mind. Inside the brackets I see root, that can't be simplified, that can't be, but 16 can. So let's simplify the square root of 16 first. Square root of 16 is 4. Now we have to do the inside of the brackets. So there we go. We can't do these. So the inside of this bracket, so we have 16 done. Then we have to do the 1 plus 4 is 5. So that gives me 5 squared, so that gives me a 25. So I have the inside done. And then I do the exponent after. So what I should do, I did the inside of the bracket to get 5, and then I squared it. So I did the 2 of these to one time. Now I'll do a FOIL on this. First is a 4. Outside is 2 root 5. Inside is a positive 2 root 5. And last is a negative 5. Notice first is 4, outside is a negative 2 root 5, inside is 2 root 5, last is 5, plus 25. Now you got a few terms lying around here. So notice they got a 2 root 5 negative and a positive, so they cancel out. And I get 4 negative 1, so that becomes a negative, or 24. So notice 4 subtract 5 is negative 1, and 25 is 24. Okay, again, PEMDAS, P-E-M. Sometimes when you know what you're doing, you can take shortcuts. But be careful. So now we have any simplification? Nope. So I have to multiply these two and these two. So I'm going to put that subtraction right there. I'm going to multiply these two first by using these brackets. So now I'll do first, which is 12, outside, which is negative 3 root 2, inside is 4 root 2, and last, negative root 2 times positive root 2 is negative 2. And this one, I have to do 2 times 1. First terms is 2, outside is a positive 2 root 2, inside is negative 1 root 2 or negative root 2, and the last is a negative 2. Then you have the, remember there's no inside to do, there's no exponents to do, so I have to multiply and divide, but there's no divisions. But now, even though I have this multiplied, I have to go back to PEMDAS again, because it's good to tidy this up because you get less terms. So 12 subtract 2 is 10, plus root 2 minus, and 2 and a negative 2, because that's gone, and that gives me 2 subtract 1 is root 2, so that's 10 plus root 2 subtract root 2, that cancels out, so the answer becomes 10. So notice I multiplied first and I subtracted last by the order of operations. And you should always, when you do FOIL, you should always simplify this to have less terms. Makes it easier. Number 4, again, PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. Root 6 can't be simplified. Root 6 I cannot add these. They're not like terms. They're not like terms. I have no exponents, and I have to multiply. Now, when you're multiplying, I have a monomial times 2 binomials. What I like to do is multiply the 2 binomials first. If you multiply by negative 5 first, the negative 5 is only multiplied by these two, and this one is left till after, because you can only multiply 2 numbers at any one time. So this is why I like to do the 2 binomials first and then do the negative 5 after. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative root 6. Root 6 times 3. Root 6 times root 6 is 6, so it's a negative 6. You should simplify the inside of the bracket first. So 6 minus 6 is 0. And that's root 6. Negative 2 plus 3 is just 1. And when you multiply, you get a negative 5 root 6. So notice I simplified the inside first. Makes it easier. Rather than multiply negative 5 by all 4 of these, I simplify the inside and then multiply by negative 5 after. And again, number 5, P-E-M-D-A-S. Now, I have brackets here, and I have a big square brackets, and I have smaller brackets. So these, you can't do anything in here, so let's write this binomial down. So inside the square brackets, I have another set of brackets, but I'm going to simplify these, do the inside of this first, because you got to do brackets inside of brackets. So that if you think about it, that's a 1, and that's a 1. So 1 times 10, 1 times negative 5 root 3, negative 1 times 2, negative 1 times negative is a positive 3 root 3. If I didn't put the 1 here, I would have to add on the opposite. The opposite of 2 is negative 2. The opposite of a negative 3 root 3 is positive 3 root 3. And obeying PEMDAS, I'm going to work out the inside of this first. But the more you can simplify as you go, the better, the easier it is. Less chance of making a mistake. 10 subtract 2 is 8. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2 root 3. Now I have to do FOIL on this. So notice you had to do the inside of this bracket first. There's no exponents. Now I have to do the multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So I'm going to multiply these two. FOIL. 4 times 8, 32. 4 times negative 2 root 3, negative 8 root 3. Root 3 times 8, or negative root 3 times 8 is negative 8 root 3. And the negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 1 is 2. Root 3 times root 3 is 3, so that gives me a 6. So I'm, rather than put all that multiplication here, I just multiply those two. Negative root 3 times negative 2 root 3. Just to show you, negative times negative is positive. 1 times 2 is 2. Root 3 times root 3 is 3, so that's where I got the 6. Add these up, I get a 38 minus 16 root 3. So notice, obeying the order of operations. Just extra practice. The more you practice, the better you get. If you sit down and practice the math, practice makes perfect normally. And we got another one, practice. Pause the video and work these out. So again, PEMDAS, P-E-M. Again, I write it down all the time just to show you. Simplify the inside. I see a 3 squared. Root 7 can't simplify. And I see a root 3 squared. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is a 3. So I have the inside simplified. And in simplifying this, I had to do the square first. Now that I have, there's no square on the brackets, so now I use FOIL. First, 9 times 3. 9 times 2 root 7. Negative root 7 times 3. And a negative root 7. So that's a negative root 7 times 2 root 7. Let's see what we get. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Root 7 times root 7 is 7. So that's a negative 14. Again, I did this multiplication over on the side. Show you where I got the negative 14. 27 subtract 14 is 13. And 18 subtract 3 is 15. So I add like terms. So these two go together, and these two go together. And PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. Can I simplify the inside of this? No. No, so that's done. Now I have to square both of these. So, which way do you want to square it? By the pattern or by FOIL? Okay. Some people like to write them down twice. And that way, so I'm writing them down twice, make sure I don't make an error. So when you square, you multiply by itself. Now I'm going to do FOIL on that. So notice I have to multiply these two first. So I'm going to do a big bracket and a big bracket like that. And I'm going to do the subtraction last. So I have to multiply this pair and then this pair, simplify it, and then subtract. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times root 2, 3 root 2. Root 2 times 3, root 2 times root 2, root 4, which is 2. Let's continue. 1 times 1, 1 times negative root 2, negative root 2 times 1, negative root 2 times negative root 2 is a positive 2. Now I'll simplify the inside. 9 plus 2 is 11. 3 plus 3 is 6, root 2. And 1 plus 2 is 3. Negative 1 is negative 2. Now I have the power done. I got exponents done. I have the multiplication. There's no division here. So now I have to subtract these two binomials. And again, I'm going to do this. If you go 11 plus 6 root 2, when you subtract, you add on the opposite. So that plus becomes a minus. That minus becomes a plus. And another way to do that is put a 1 here and put a 1 there. 1 times 11, notice multiplying by 1 won't change them. Negative 1 times 3, negative 1 times negative 2, plus. So if you put the 1 there, the little trick helps out, or add on the opposite. So 11 minus 3 is 8, and 6 plus 2 is 8. That's fully simplified. Again, the order of operations. Extremely important. PEMDAS, BEDMAS, obey when you work things out. If you like my video, click the like button, the subscribe button, and notification bell because more videos coming your way. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. to find out more information about me, my videos, and the content that's on my YouTube channel, Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.